So this moment right here, not gonna lie to y'all, is very surprising. You have a Fox News host, in fact, Fox Business, I should say, Stuart Varney, who's been on the air. He's been a host on Fox forever now. And he is a dyed-in-the-wool right-winger. Now, having said that, I do think he's also kind of sick of Trump. He's interviewed Trump a couple times, and he's one of the few people who will sort of hold him accountable when he overreaches. And here he's going to have a conversation with the RNC chair about one of Kamala Harris's proposals. And I'm genuinely floored by this because this guy's never given credit to a Democrat in any situation ever. But that changes here and hilarity ensues. Here we go.
I just want to press the point. When a political candidate comes up with what I think is a good idea, I have to call it a good idea. And a $50,000 tax cut for small, not tax cut, but a tax credit for startups or small businesses, coupled with less red tape. I gotta say, that is a good idea, regardless of our other tax ideas.
While that may be a good idea, it's hard to see how she's going to move forward with it.
When they're confronted with reality, they just crumble. They're paper mache and they just fall apart right in front of you. So he's saying, what Stuart Varney is saying is, look, Kamala Harris said for small businesses, wants to give them a $50,000 tax deduction. And for small businesses, she wants to, quote, cut red tape, which is mean like take away some of the burdensome regulations on small businesses. Now, here's the thing, and this is super important. This distinction is crucial. There's a big difference between small and big business. And where you draw the line is a matter of debate, and I understand that, right? But for example, like my dad, when he was alive, he owned a laundromat, and he painted the side of his building some like kind of bright color for it to grab attention. And then, you know, the whatever the local regulatory body was came to him and basically said, we're forcing you to change that. And he was like, what? And then they said, look, if you don't change that, we're going to go through your entire thing with a fine-tooth comb and find every single little violation you have and shut you down. And he was like, all right, I guess I have to change it. And then he changed it. And like, you look at that and you say, yeah, whatever rules and regulations are on the book saying you can't use this color for this bill, it's like, is that overreach? Yeah, I think it's overreach. And so as a lefty, I am totally fine with tax cuts for working class people, right? Which Kamala is in favor of. And I'm totally fine with, you want to cut the burdensome regulations on small businesses? Fine. You want to help them out with a tax credit? Fine. I draw the line, obviously, when it comes to big business. I don't want to deregulate big businesses because then they use that to get away with all sorts of crimes, you know, whatever, polluting nonstop, you name it, right? So I don't want to cut taxes for big corporations. I don't want to cut taxes for the wealthy, but for small business, that's fine. And she recognized that distinction, and I like that distinction. And here's Stuart Varney, for once in his life, being honest, saying, hey, man, a Democrat proposed an idea here that Republicans should like. Can you just be honest and say you like it? And he's like, okay, it's good, but I don't know if she's going to be able to do it. Are you kidding me? This is one of the few things she will be able to do because you might actually be able to get some Republican votes for something like this, right? It's like Barack Obama. Under Barack Obama, he cut small business taxes something like 12 times. But the thing is, usually these people don't just agree where they should agree, right? So another example, and I see so many dumb tweets about this all the time. Somebody tweeted that video of Bill Clinton talking about immigration and being like super hardline in his rhetoric and being like, can you imagine this was the Democratic Party back then? What's happened to the Democratic Party? They would call him a fascist now or something. It's like, you absolute jackass. All Democratic presidents have talked about immigration like this. Democratic presidents are conservative on the issue of immigration. They just are. Obama was called the deporter in chief. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris deported more people as a raw number and a percentage compared to Trump. People don't know these things, but that's their fault for not having the information. That's their fault for not knowing the reality. And you could blame the media for not teaching people. But in that scenario, the thing that the right should be saying is, yeah, there's not that much difference between Trump and the Democrats on immigration. So I guess that's not a determinative factor for my vote because everybody's sort of tough on the border, right? But they don't know it. Or they're dishonest about it. They know it and they're dishonest about it. And they pretend like Democrats are in favor of open borders, even though they're not, right? So it actually is sort of an incredible feeling to hear somebody genuinely acknowledge, like, hey, here's an issue where she agrees with the right, and to say, credit, because usually what they do is they just lie and pretend like they don't have the position that they have. And that's what drives me, the dishonesty drives me crazy. Anytime you hear anybody, a political commentator, some Twitter poster, some politician, some host, if they ever argue Democrats are pro-open borders or they're soft on immigration, just know that is a fucking lie. You can go read the numbers yourself. You know, we reference that Cato Institute study all the time, and people just, they don't know or they don't care, and they're not willing to say, hey, thank you, I agree with you on that issue. Now, by the way, I actually don't agree with the Democrats on that. When it comes to immigration, I think they're too far to the right. You know, I think you absolutely should have a reasonable, sane, humanist approach to a path to citizenship for people who've been here and they're good citizens who contribute. Like, those people deserve to be Americans and they're vital to this country. They really embody that like American dream spirit, even more so than many natural born Americans. So I absolutely want that. And I absolutely want to protect the dreamers. I'm okay with having a border and having rules and regulations. But at the same time, there's this like massive scapegoating and demonization of immigrants. Like they're somehow the core of every problem in this country. Fucking bullshit. That's not true at all. And the Democrats and the Republicans feed into that dumbass narrative. But this might be the first and last time you hear any Fox News host say, hey, I like that idea because I'm just looking at the idea and telling you what I think, as opposed to playing partisan hack political games where I pretend like Kamala Harris is a fucking communist. That's the thing you hear all the time. Comrade Kamala, the right is calling her. I literally cannot take people seriously who say things like that, because you are just a brazen liar. The idea that Kamala wants to seize the means of production has less than no evidence. Less than no. She is a corporate liberal, is the best descriptor for her. She's not remotely post-capitalist in any way, shape, or form. So if you say that, you are making it so nobody should believe anything you say from there on out. And that's the reality. But here we have a rare instance where, and again, look at the reaction from the RNC chair. He's like, oh, fuck, I don't know how to react to this. I was basically caught in that the Democrats called our bluff and say, yeah, there are some issues, like when it comes to small business and immigration, we kind of agree with you. So here's the policy. And he's put in a position where he can't be like, Kamala she wants to raise taxes on small businesses and that she wants to add regulation to small businesses. He's in a position where he can't say that because the host is actually being honest. So anyway, there you have it. I wish the Democrats on most issues were not so quick to mostly agree with the right. But when they do, it is nice to have people who are honest on the right say, yeah, I'm with her on that. Right? It's the same thing as when I say to you guys, hey, Donald Trump pardoned Alice Johnson. I support that. I don't care that Donald Trump did it and I therefore have to be against it by definition. No, he did a good thing. So I will say that is a good thing. I like the First Step Act. That is a good thing. He like banned bump stocks. Remember that? It turns a gun into sort of like an automatic weapon. He banned that. That's a good thing. I can tell you all the areas where like, okay, yeah, credit on that one. No problem with that. I like that he axed NAFTA. I don't like the new NAFTA, but it's good that he axed the original NAFTA. Like, we can be honest about it. This is what honest politics looks like. But unfortunately, you don't get that a lot these days because most people are fucking hacks. So Stuart Varney is usually not great, but in this instance, he at least told the truth. And you saw Republicans literally didn't know how to handle it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.